Hey there, grab your coffee and let's talk business. How to grow it, how to sustain it, and how to harness the wonderful World Wide Web to do it. With me, your host, Jennifer Sikowski. Let's get started. Hello, today on this episode of Raney Day Talks podcast, I want to peel back the curtain and share why I launched this podcast, why Raney Day Talks, and what does it all mean? Because that's one of the number one questions is like, Jen, why a podcast? Why are you doing this? So I thought, well, shoot, that's an episode. So here we are. Why did I launch this podcast? Because sometimes, like right now, it's a Sunday afternoon. Our electric has been out all day long. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get this episode in. It's supposed to go live Tuesday. Like it's going to get done. So I ran upstairs once the hubs took over with the kids, and you might hear them in the background. I'm not sure, but I think to myself, like, why? Well, let me paint that picture. So number one reason why I launched this podcast is authority. There, I said it. If I can be so bold to say so or unapologetically to do so, I wanted the authority, especially locally. I want to help business owners. I want to stand out. There's a dime, I could probably throw a rock. There's a dime a dozen of marketing people and web designers and developers around me in this glorious county in the state. There's so many of us. And I wanted to stand out. I wanted to stand out of the crowd. And I figured what better way to do it is to launch a podcast. There's not too many other around me that have done it. So let's do it. And I want to help people who are either on the fence of starting a business or maybe you're in the weeds of it and struggling to figure it out as they're growing. In the last, 8 years, I've learned a lot. I've messed up a lot and I've learned a lot and I feel like I've grown a lot. And I want to share because that's the way that I learned. I learned from others. I learned from reading and asking questions, enjoying networking and just working it out and going with your gut. That's how I learned. And I learned a lot from the internet and I learned a lot from Googling things. And so I figured what better way for me to help someone else out is to share. So that's number one. I wanted the platform, the authority, and I wanted to stand out. Another reason why I launched a podcast is because it's scary. Oh my goodness, it's so scary. It's so scary to put yourself out there when you're used to being behind the scenes, behind the computer, and doing the designs and the builds and all those things. Well, in the last couple of years, Raney Day Design has evolved, and I now trying to take it to the next level. We are leveling up within the business, and that's scary. And I figure, you know what? Because I know for me, I have to be outside of my comfort zone because that's where you grow. And that's what I encourage people is you've got to be outside your comfort zone. And being outside your comfort zone is scary. So if it scares you, it's probably the thing that you should be doing within your business if it stretches you. And this does for me. I am not one to put a lot of me out there from behind the business in the pink umbrella or the black umbrella. And I thought, you know what, this is it. This is how we can do this. And I know that it will cause me to dig in and grow as a speaker, as a teacher, and I believe I will learn a lot too, because if you're teaching someone, you have to know the course, right? You have to know the content. And that was a big one for me is that I want to know this business inside out. I want to be able to hand off the tools to someone else. And what better way to do that is to teach. And let's face it, a podcast is a medium that people can consume while multitasking. And I love that because I do that. That's how I learn. I have my favorites that when I put the kids to bed and I'm cleaning house or I'm driving or whatever it might be I have my ear pods in and I'm listening and I'm doing other things, but I'm still consuming, because I think it's really important that we continually learn and grow. From the last episode, we're talking about being a lifelong learner and what that impact has on your business. So for me, like, what better way to get in front of people? They're not having to take the time to sit and read it or watch it. They just pop it in their headphones or in the car or whatever they're doing, and you're getting heard. Your message is getting across. And to me, I think that's awesome. And I was looking for some statistics to back that up, and I found them. More than half of podcast consumers have multitasked while listening. So it totally backs up what I'm saying. Podcast consumers listen to podcasts more than any other type of audio. So that's huge. 54% of podcast listeners are more likely to consider buying an advertised product. I want to put a pin in that, because that is something that goes along with authority. That, what better way to earn someone's trust, let them get to know you as a business owner and what you're selling, and almost like leverage that you are the expert in that field. Then when you slide in, this is the service or product that we're launching, statistics shows they're more likely to buy from you. So what more reason why not to put yourself out there, especially if you're wanting to grow and be heard in this noisy online world. For my Americans, 51% of Americans 12 or older have listened to podcasts. To me, I see opportunity and I see potential customers with that. That's a lot of people that are listening to podcasts. So if they stumble upon mine and like what they hear, awesome. So the next question I ask is, why Raney Day Talks? Why? Because, we could have gone more of a marketing name. I really struggled with that. And actually one of the gals that worked with me, she was the one that said, hey, why not Raney Day Talks? And it took me a while to come to that conclusion of, first I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. No. And it wasn't probably till the second or third day after we had met, it clicked for me. I'm like, oh, because I love to talk business. If you are here or know me, I can sit and talk about plans and strategy and how to grow it and what you're struggling with, and brainstorming. I love that. I eat that up. And especially I'm usually holding on to a cup of coffee, and that's how, I don't know, guess the reputation that I've been known for. And so with Raney Day Talks, I'm like, oh, that's just what it is. We're going to have people, awesome business owners and from all walks of life, and let's interview them. Let me talk to them, and let's keep it casual. Let's keep it comfortable, that there's no formality other than let's talk it out and see where it leads. And I love that. From the episodes that we've had up till now, I've had so much fun without putting too much constriction on what I'm trying to accomplish with it. I'm keeping it very open. So for me and my purpose behind Raney Day Talks, that works. Once again, it's scary to be opening up behind the scenes and talking more about what goes on behind the business and the day-to-day life. But that to me is something that I've felt called to do for such a long time. So a little backstory. This business started out as a part-time gig. I was working full-time at a non-for-profit. I was looking for, I loved marketing, and I had such an awesome opportunity with that organization. And I was loving just the process of starting a business and something to build. I loved that. That fed my soul. And so when I would talk to other friends and they started talking about wanting to launch a business, I was like, oh, I can help you with that. I just secured my name. I just built my website, or I just learning WordPress, and let me help you. It was just something that started out as a side hustle or gig to learn how to grow something, ended up being the business. And at first, it started in the state of Indiana, and I would take on any and all jobs. Do you need accounting help? Sure, I can file an invoice and do those things. Do you need administrative support? Great, I can set this up virtually. Do you need a logo? Great. Do you need whatever it was? I said yes. I did it all. I worked with anybody and everybody. Sometimes I got paid, sometimes I didn't, but I knew I had to start somewhere. Then as time goes on, during that time, I had launched, blogging had just come onto the scene, and especially with being a lifestyle blogger, and I was going through a lot of things on the personal level. And I thought, oh, what greater way is to write it out? So I had placed on my heart early on to write and to share from experiences back then. But at the time, I was always identifying with the situation that I was in. It was me writing, but I was always pulling from someone else or another circumstance. And so it was okay, but it was something that I never went all in with. And so I just toyed with it. So I would put out a blog here or there, and I would call myself a blogger and just tinkered with it, basically. So fast forward, I moved the business out here, and I went full-time in Indiana, and then I moved it to Pennsylvania. And since being in Pennsylvania, it has grown significantly. I've worked really hard to build the brand Raney Day Design. Now, what started out, and let me tell you, branding is a whole other episode, because I fought myself day and night for a good, maybe 3 or 4 weeks on rebranding my business when I moved out here, because I thought no one was going to take my quirky hot pink umbrella seriously. And so since 2012-13 till now, I've just worked hard to build a brand that when people recognize, oh, that's Jen. She's a web girl. She does marketing. She can help you out. She can do this. They're great. They provide a great service. Or, we love our website. This was a great tool for us. Or we've brought business in so over time I've built that reputation. We've rebranded, and which I have always said, Raney Day has grown up, and we've gotten bolder, and we just grew up. So we need to be a little sexier. We need to change up some things. And so in 2018, last year, I worked with a team and we rebranded. So why am I telling you all that? It is because all through those 8 years, I still toyed with my own branding on the side. And because I knew, it's hard. I have had 2 babies, moved this business 350 miles plus away, travel with my officiating husband, and we do not slow down. And I've still kept to building this business. And I think there's a story to be told there. And especially becoming a mom, and then the balance between being a boss and building the business and working with a team online, and then having these 2 little ones, that's a story I feel like I could tell. So a couple years ago, having some Mexican sitting across from a girlfriend, we started talking about wanting to start a blog. And I, once again, had toyed with it. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger on jennifersikowski.com and see what happens. Not much has happened. If you're wondering, not much has happened since then. Until now, until this podcast came about. Because I haven't wanted to touch the brand of Raney Day Design. That's a marketing firm, an agency. That's what we do. That's the content that we put out with. And I want to continue to be a resource, a help, and provide an awesome service to business owners building their business. That is our mission. That is our goal. With jennifersikowski.com, there's the backstory to tell. There's the backstory of trying to run a podcast with little ones downstairs and a supportive husband trying to keep them quiet so that way they don't ring in, or having to build out the timeline for blogs and all from my phone sitting outside on the deck while the kids play, or there's stories to tell. And so for me, Jennifer Sikowski behind the Raney Day Design, that was a way to where I could bridge and force myself out of the comfort to go all in on my own brand and continue to build the Raney Day Design brand, because this brand is not all for moms that work from home or trying to build a business. It's not just for them. It's also for business owners. But I feel like here's the platform that we could create to touch a wider audience. So for me, not only is it a way to continue to build the brand and to be an authority in the space, but it's also a way to tell my story behind the scenes. As scary as that sounds, and for me, it's like, ugh, but here we are, and I'm so excited for the opportunity. So that it was a big push for me, is because why? And I'm really the type of person, go big or go home. So for me, and while all of that's transpired, when we launched this podcast, I thought it doesn't have to be one thing for us. We're not just going to interview awesome business owners. We're not going to just put out marketing tips. We're going to put out business tips. We're going to talk about the struggle behind the scenes. If you go to my YouTube channel for Raney Day Design, you're going to see a intro to our episode 1 of the podcast, where I tell you my microphone was upside down. Here's the things that we learned, but here's our journey. So come along. And I want to be very authentic with that, because as you know, you could pull up Instagram, you can pull up Facebook, and it's so easy to get, taken away from what people put up as that facade. I want to tear that down. I want to show you everything. So what better way is to sit here and talk behind a microphone about all of the things. So that's why it came about. And since I had that desire to share, I needed a way to rip off the Band-Aid and jump with both feet in. So here we are. So over the next, I would say, month, we are relaunching jenniferskowski.com, and I'm going to be putting out some content. Now, remember, Raney Design is the business, the marketing firm. My brand, I'm going to tell all the things on the personal level. Did we already mention how scary that is? It is, but we're going to do it, and I'm excited. On another note, it's just, that's the way I can bridge that gap. So that's why I'm encouraging anyone when they're like, oh, I want to start a podcast. Awesome. Do it. Because one, it's a lot of fun. It sounds cheesy, but to talk behind a microphone, but it's so much fun, especially when I'm interviewing people, or if I hear someone say, hey, I caught that episode with Paul and about doing an e-course. Man, that was really helpful. I didn't think about those things. Or, wow, what the heck? Kat is doing these amazing things to provide a platform to do good in the world. How awesome is that? That warms my heart. That feeds my soul. So how can I help you? That's the bottom line of this episode. That's why I started, is because I just wanted a platform to share and to claim that authority and locally, and to try to stand out. So if you are someone listening and you're thinking, you know what, I could do that. If she can sit here and ramble on about her heart's desire and still talk about business and still say it's a lot of fun, I could do that. And yes, you can. If you Google the statistics on why you should podcast, especially as a business owner, if you have something that you can teach someone else, girl, guy, give it away. Because what better way for you to be the expert is to share, to talk, to teach about it. That's how you become the authority. That's how you build traction, is that you do the thing. If you keep talking about it, then people will say, oh, well, they're talking about it, but nothing's happened. Be the person who does it. So if you're looking, I don't know, Jen, where do I start? I put together a couple of sheets worth. I wanted it to be one sheet, but I think it's going to end up being more of the tools, the actual technology that I purchased, and I'm going to give you the links to them, exactly what I got on how, because I knew going into it, I had to up my game on my office, and you don't have to do that. And I want to put that out there. You can start with an iPhone. For me, I wanted to, if I'm going all in, I'm going all in. So I'm going to invest. And so I'm going to put the links of all the technology that I have, the tools that I put everything together, and I'm even going to throw some templates in on how I organize my show notes and a worksheet for a podcast outline. I'm just here, take it. And if you have any questions, direct message me, Instagram, whatever profile, whatever social media platform that you're using, direct message Raney Day Design or look me up, Jennifer Sikowski. I want to help you because I know that once you get started, you're going to love it and you're going to stand out. So whatever you're selling and are trying to, the products that you're trying to serve your clients, it's going to make an impact. So you're probably wondering, okay, Jen, how do I get those tips? How do I learn? The only place I'm going to drop those is in my Facebook group. So check out the show notes to find that link to drop into that Facebook group, and I'm going to drop that PDF, and that way you can have it. Take it, use it, and definitely post your questions because I want to help. Also, if you found this helpful and you're like, yes, she has given me that mojo to do it, please share, take a screenshot with your phone of the Raney Day Talks podcast and tag me in it. Tag Raney Day, tag Jennifer Sikowski, and even use the hashtag Raney Day Talks because we want to hear, we want to know that this is working. Because if it's helpful, then we're going to keep putting out there. And if you have any questions, let me know because we are always looking to answer those questions to be helpful. So there we have it. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you pick this up and that you truly consider on how you are trying to stand out from the crowd. How are you trying to tell your story? A huge thank you to Mark at Mark Levander Productions for sponsoring Season 1 of Raney Day Talks podcast. I'm very particular who we partner with, and Mark was a no-brainer. Mark does all of our video editing and puts all of the components and pieces together for our YouTube channel and podcast. If you are looking to publish your own YouTube series, podcast, or need photography work, please contact Mark through marklevanderproductions.com.